Hello everyone, this is the Dread Pirate once again, and before we get started, we're going to have a little bit of promotion. My good friend Andy and supporter of the show basically gave me a good idea for this little intro thing we're going to be doing right now. So before we get going with that, I want to do a little bit of a promotion for him. If y'all live in the Tampa area, go to 3830 Gun Highway and check out Casa Jimenez. Basically, if you love wine, it's a great place where I get all my wine. And also on Friday nights and Saturdays they have special events, wine tasting. We have a little kind of party there. Friday nights is the day I especially love to go, and basically just come down. You might see me there. It would be really, really great. So by all means, go support Casa Jimenez. Have a great time there. We should be good to go. Andy made the suggestion that what would help the campaign, especially for those coming in new, wondering what the hell is this, and like why is Spider-Man there, and Venom, what, do a little explanation as to what's going on. So that's what we're going to do from now on. From now on, before every session, or at least before every major chapter, we're going to do a little intro video, and I'm going to basically explain what's going on. So that's what we're going to do now before we get started here. So sit back, relax, and I have a cute little effect I'm going to use, so I'll see you there. Our story takes place in a land in antiquity and in the past, a place of magic and monsters. But before we go to the past, we must go to the future. In the far future, in the world of Overwatch, the mighty crusader Reinhardt and the cyborg ninja Genji were doing battle against the terrible robot forces known as Omnius. Overwatch had learned that Omnius was performing some kind of bizarre experiments in space, involving the space-time dimension continuum, and altering dimensions and things like that. They engaged Omnius, they fought the robots, they destroyed them, found their terrible machine, but in the ensuing battle they smashed it and unleashed a terrible portal. Reinhardt and Genji were sucked into this portal and found themselves in a strange new land, a beautiful forest. Their radios didn't work, they had no way of contacting home, they didn't know what was going on. So they investigated, they traveled throughout the land, and eventually they found what appeared to be like a medieval castle out of nowhere. While approaching it, they saw another creature, a robot. Well, Reinhardt naturally assumed it was Omnius and attacked, but then was surprised when the robot put up its hands and, dude, chill, relax, man. For this robot was no ordinary robot, it was Beachcomber. Beachcomber of the Autobots, the Transformers. When the Autobots came to Earth many, many years ago and fought their battle against the Decepticons, there was one amongst them that couldn't bear to hurt a fly, and that was Beachcomber. Beachcomber loved animals and creatures and nature, and really just hated having to fight, hating having to hurt anybody. He would fight when the need was there, but more often times he would run away. He couldn't bear to hurt anything and just hated the violence that was involved. So he stuck out. He stayed out of most of the fighting, but occasionally he would do the right thing and help out his comrades and do whatever he could to save nature. Eventually, however, he was badly damaged and he was put into stasis. On his way back to the Autobot homeworld, however, a surprise Decepticon attack struck him and blasted him, and the cargo container containing his pod fell and flew from the sky and crash landed in this strange world. He wound up reactivating a short amount of time shortly after our friend Reinhardt and Genji had arrived on this planet. Aware and confused, but not sure where he was, he made his way to the castle too. Suddenly discovered the mighty Reinhardt and Genji. Afraid that a fight was going to take place, he got ready to defend himself, but then all of a sudden he heard a strange voice from overhead. They looked up, saw a strange figure, somewhat familiar to Beachcomber, but a strange man wearing a red and blue suit with the patterns of a spider all over it. It's, of course, the amazing Spider-Man, one of Earth's mightiest heroes, a member of the Avengers, and a friend of Wolverine and the Fantastic Four and other great heroes. See, meanwhile, back on Earth, the heroes have been dealing with a lot of villains, in particular, I can't talk right now. In particular, the terrible robot Ultron had invaded with an army of robots and had gained several other villains to his side. The Avengers managed to push back Ultron and he flew into outer space, but Captain America thought it'd be a good idea to pursue him, so they took flight in several separate Quinjets. They took off into outer space and pursued Ultron, but Ultron's forces fired back, and Spider-Man was lost over another distant planet that they hadn't discovered. Spider-Man crash landed there and managed to survive, and found himself in the medieval fantasy world. Spider-Man quickly filled in these newcomers to what was going on. He told them that they were in the world of Toril, also known as the Forgotten Realms of Dungeons & Dragons, a world of fantasy and adventure, knights, elves, dragons, and monsters. And he'd been staying here for some time, basically continuing to do his hero thing and providing protection for the city they were at, known as Dagger Falls, deep in the Dagger Hills. He told them what was going on and basically like quickly learned who they were and brought them in and introduced them to King Randall Morn. And Randall Morn had a problem for them. For the Drow, the devious dark elves of the Underdark, had been seen popping out of a crypt raiding some of the local farmlands. As a result, they've been attacking and raiding many of his people. So he asked that these new adventurers, knowing that Spider-Man was a great hero that had been helping them out, and these strange adventurers seemed to have similar fantastic powers as he, could you help us out? They agreed. So thus forth, Reinhardt, Genji, Beachcomber, and Spider-Man engaged in a grand adventure, delving deep into the Underdark and into the dark crypts, fighting undead and drow and other monsters, and going on a grand adventure. Unfortunately, however, they wound up getting separated. Genji wound up going off on his own, and unfortunately wound up, well, in a very strange incident, being turned into a vampire and then instantly killed by a bunch of lions. Spider-Man eventually found Reinhardt and rescued him, but Beachcomber had been taken away, and they still haven't found him yet. But fortunately, a new party member arrived to help them out. In fact, it was an old enemy of Spider-Man's, the terrible, monstrous symbiote known as Venom. Venom, reattached to its second host, Eddie Brock, had, after numerous adventures, had been somewhat tamed by its one of his previous hosts, one of Spider-Man's old friends and former rival Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson, as Agent Venom, had been basically using the symbiote as a soldier, and had got it kind of somewhat tamed. But in a previous mission, he had died. However, his consciousness still lies within the symbiote as an extra personality. Eddie Brock wound up once again being bonded with the symbiote and trying to keep the symbiote under control, having put his own personal issues with Spider-Man aside, been working as a hero again. Very recently, he discovered that basically his ex-wife and him, unbeknownst to him, his wife had been pregnant and had a child, and so he has a son. But after a while, Venom noticed that Spider-Man had failed to return to the Earth, and he was concerned about him. So, with Eddie Brock and Flash Thompson's consciousness wanting to go rescue him, and the symbiote hoping for an opportunity to rip out its greatest enemy, Spider-Man, once again, they managed to steal their own Avengers Quinjet and take off in outer space. Venom found his way to the planet, found the smashed Quinjet, and eventually made his way into the crypts and found his old partner, his old rival Spider-Man again. Venom helped them out for a time, but unfortunately, they discovered that the reason that the Drow were raiding was because there was a war going on the Underdark itself. For Loth, the spider goddess, which all the Drow worship, had fallen silent. And in this moment of silence, in this moment where the Drow had begun to lose their faith, the city of Zith-Morcaine, which is near the Dagger Falls underneath, had been invaded by the cult of Caransalee, a group of Drow wearing white tabards who praise a different Drow goddess, a goddess of undeath and vengeance, who vowed that Loth had abandoned them, and as a result, they need not have faith in her anymore, and they should join their cult. They moved in, they attacked House Morcaine, overthrew the previous rulers there, captured several of their number, including Desisek Morcaine, a barbarian Drow woman, and also a cleric of Loth. Tarok Morcaine also had to flee, and wound up fleeing and wound up encountering Genji later on. And Genji promised that he would avenge her and kill their leader, Dorina Saran. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to do so. They learned of this when they made it to Zith-Morcaine, encountering the bizarre warrior known as Lorala Dumian. Lorala Dumian is a half-drow woman, but is strangely changing into a spider herself due to a strange scarab necklace which is attached to her neck, which grants her the powers of the goddess Loth, steadily driving her insane and turning her into a spider woman. Lorala, very loyal and fiercely loyal to the worshippers of Loth, had noticed that the cult of Caransalee was putting to the sword anyone who continued to oppose them, and also taking the most devout followers of Loth and skinning them alive, turning into these horrible undead skinless horrors known as Kuth Marin. After seeing all of her sisters and brothers died, she vowed to cut down the cult of Caransalee itself. So she agreed to join Spider-Man and Venom so long as they would overthrow the cult of Caransalee and retake the city. In time, they ran into several high-ranking members of the cult, including Valina and Velocisaron, two twin sisters who were priestess of Loth. One they managed to capture and imprison back at Dagger Hills. The other they ran into in the castle, and she brought them before her aunt and the current ruler of Zith Morcaine, high-ranking member of the cult of Krentsali, Dorina Saran, daughter of the High Priestess Irais Saran. Dorina is not just any drow, though. She's a powerful vampire. And she agreed to negotiations, but after insulting Reinhardt's hammer, Reinhardt lost his cool and a fight ensued. During the course of the fight, Eddie Brock fought well, but was killed. Oh, and of course I say Eddie Brock, for, well, some other problems had resulted as well. Unfortunately, the Venom symbiote apparently had gone insane, and when they found Genji's corpse, eaten part of it. So there was a brief fight with Venom as well, which resulted in Spider-Man having to defeat the symbiote and wound up capturing it, imprisoning it inside of a magic jar. Eddie Brock, free of the symbiote, and assuming that the symbiote just was driving him insane, continued to fight alongside them with his fists and a sword, but unfortunately it was nothing compared to Dorina's magic. Cut in two, it was down to Spider-Man and Reinhardt. Spider-Man was knocked unconscious, nearly killed, and Reinhardt was eventually mind-controlled and forced to surrender. They were imprisoned and most likely to be tortured for information and killed upon the morning, but fortunately they found two more allies, two other prisoners. A drow sorcerer known as Zakunin, who, still believing that the worshippers of Loth were in power, walked in the city and said, "Hey, praise be to Loth," and wound up being beaten and arrested for his troubles, and as well as a half-vampire warrior known as Devdin, a man who ruthlessly hates vampires. But after trying to hook up, unbeknownst to him, Velasa Saran in the bar, and comparing her to the patron goddess Loth, wound up, again, savagely being beaten and imprisoned. With Devdin and Zakunin's help, they retreated. They escaped the prison and managed to fight their way through the drow forces. They eventually rejoined forces with Lorala Dumian, rescued Desisek Morcaine, and challenged Dorina herself, defeating her, causing Dorina to retreat. Dorina Sarong is defeated. But now, is the castle cleared out? Can they retake the city? Are there still those loyal to the cult of Krentsali within the city? What new dangers lurk for our heroes? Find out now. Okay, I am recording. I'm sorry about the wait, gentlemen. All right, hello everyone. It is the Dread Pirate once again, and we are back with City of the Spider Queen. And we got a new player, not new to the channel. We got Dark Wolf. Dark Wolf, say hi.
All
right, we're having a little trouble getting you in Roll20, so we're gonna do half Roll20, half Theater of the Mind. But you'll be playing. Who are you playing today?
Skeletor.
Playing Skeletor from He-Man. So it'll be my comic crossover dream. So before we go, let's have everybody do a initiative roll. All player. I need all the players just to roll initiative real quick. Determine how I'm going to structure it.
Sure.
Okay. And I'm thinking I should plug my dice in actually because I'm like on 20% on my phone.
7.
Okay, 7.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dark Wolf is a 7.
I bet you feel fat will be rolling a 27.
8.
8.
Oof. 15.
15. Okay. All right. Alex, you can roll
15 for Flutter Buckets. Master of Sneaky Wizardry.
Okay. All right. So we're.
What was that?
Don't worry about it. I just really needed to know who we were going to start off with. So we're going to get Dark Wolf. We're going to get to you in a minute because we're going to have to enter you into the scenario. I have an idea of how to bring you in, but we'll get there in a minute. When last we met, the party went to Castle Morcaine seeking vengeance for a variety of reasons against the vampire Dorina. Dessa was there to take back her throne. Lorala was there to get vengeance for all the drow she's murdered in the name of Krentsali. Spider-Man was there to get some payback for Eddie Brock. And Devdin was getting paid. And Reinhardt's just a nice guy. Reinhardt's just a metch, and he's a good boy. And Zach was kind of confused. Zach was just like, whatever. And it's just like, anybody needs some magic missile, and he blew some things up. So y'all kicked the crap out of Dorina, and she turned into a big fart cloud, but you destroyed her coffin, and she booked for it, and you lost track of her, you don't know where she went. Devdin assures everybody, look, vampires can't last for more than 2 hours without their coffin. Bitch is dead. We're good to go. So as far as you know, you're victorious. What are you guys going to do?
I'm
I'm
rest.
gonna head back up
rest
to
up for the night.
Circus.
I vote we rest up for the night.
Does it have to be their
One
own
person at a
coffin? Can't they just use any coffin?
I'm pretty sure it's their own coffin. Almost certain. I've hunted plenty of vampires in my lifetime. And I've talked with many vampire hunters more.
All right. Do you know more than I do? So let's go with that.
Okay.
So
Well-
what now?
Well, if she is indeed dead, Dessa speaks up. If she is indeed dead, then I must reclaim my throne and restore, make this keep in this city once more a place where followers of Loth are loyal. My only concern is we didn't see Velasa at all. I'm not sure if the keep is safe or not. Part of me wants to go and just reclaim the throne as it is, but there may still be other dangers around.
Why, princess? I say you reclaim your throne. Make it an act of power. Call out any of those who wish to go against you, since they may attack you at once and we may ambush them as they try.
Lorella's like, says, I like this idea. There's so many followers of Karansali about, and they need to die. They need to die horribly. They need to die horribly at my blade and at my teeth. So
And why seek them out when we can call them to us?
Spider-Man's kind of scratching his head. It's like, well, yeah, I would definitely agree that I'm not sure that the castle or the city are necessarily secure. But that's one thing I'm a little concerned about. Where is Velasta? Are we sure that this castle's secure? I mean, shouldn't we go by room and make sure everything's gone? Or what do you guys think? Or do you guys just want to go out there and like make an announcement? Hey, Darina's gone. Des is in charge again.
I think it would be better to search a room, honestly, because you never know.
You're like a thorn in my side. You speak up like an annoyance.
Well, I just want to do the most cautious thing here, buddy. I want to make sure the job's done. I mean, besides, might be more vampires you can kill.
I don't want to kill them just yet. I want to watch them burn as the sun rises.
And I just want to bury my friend, but I don't feel like I should just leave you guys here when we're not sure that the bad guys are taken care of. But it's up to you guys. What do you guys think we should do?
Princess, this is your castle.
I'm not sure what she would say. Hold on. I think you make the most sense, Devdon. I think we should go out there and announce that I've retaken my throne and see who challenges me. Once that is done, if there's anyone still here, we'll march on here on force and retake the castle.
I knew you would be the sensible type.
You're just lucky in character she doesn't like Spider-Man. She's just like this. That Spider-Man guy's dumb and stuff. So, very well. Let us move outside and let us make the announcement. Meanwhile, about 100 years ago on the planet of Eternia, Skeletor, Overlord of Evil, was waging a constant war against the forces of Eternia. When he suddenly discovered that Snake Rock, his castle home, was actually the secret ancient home to King Hiss and the Serpent People. When King Hiss made his move and basically attacked Skeletor, there was a fight, and eventually Skeletor was defeated and sealed in mystical stone. And you have basically been trapped in stone for an inordinate amount of time. And for how long, you're not sure. You would drift in and out of consciousness for feels like years at a time. Suddenly there's a surge of magical energy, and you find yourself waking up, but you're still like sealed away in some kind of stone coffin. Meanwhile, the party suddenly sees a massive explosion of green energy above the altar that you're of the room that you're in, like this one right here. And suddenly, a massive stone sarcophagus just appears out of nowhere and slowly falls down and lands on top of the altar. It lays there for a moment, and after a few moments, it cracks and cracks some more, and eventually crumbles. And you see a rather terrifying figure of a humanoid with it's got a blue flesh and blood body, but a skull for a head, and wearing a hood. Has an arm with a sword that's wrapped across its chest, and it's now lying on the pillar there. Skeletor, in your case, you suddenly see all the rock formation crack away, and you're lying on a table surrounded by some strange people. There is
and asked, "What is your name?"
the man drawing a sword at you is a little pale and has slightly pointed ears, is wearing all black leather. There's a man wearing red and blue pajamas with spider emblems on them, who looks very confused. There's a man wearing a large suit of armor that looks somewhat technologically advanced, and he's armed with a hammer. There are two elves, a man and a woman. The man is carrying a magic wand of some kind. The woman appears to be clad in leather and is unarmed. And finally, there's a woman who looks kind of like an elf, but she has various spider features. Actually, new for the party. You've all noticed that she's starting to hunch over more, and her spider features become more pronounced than they usually are. All three of these individuals appear to be dark elves, similar to the species you originally came from when you were Keldor. So, but yeah, what are y'all gonna do?
Well, what is your name, Skullman?
Full action.
Okay. What are you holding in
action? For just ready an attack for if he unsheaths his.
Okay. Very well.
Yep.
Yeah, Skeletor, you may talk.
Character have a staff.
Which character has a staff? There's a yeah, okay. You're on the. If you notice in S41, there's a table in there. You're actually on the table itself. You're lying on it, and basically just to your right and north of you is the elf with the staff.
A staff?
Yeah, it looks magical in nature, like a wand.
Yeah. Well, my character kind of gets up to his feet, and then says, "Where am I?"
Okay.
Who do you serve?
He says, "I serve myself, Skeletor."
I'm racing in my head to see if, like Spider-Man's had any interactions with He-Man characters before. Let's say he hasn't or doesn't remember any.
Princess, what would you have me do with this one?
Okay. Spider-Man chimes in first. It's like you are in Castlemore Kane. You don't know how you got here?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Devdin talks to Dessa. So Dessa says, "Do you have any allegiance with the cult of Karansali?"
No, and I do not know who that person is.
Okay. Are you a friend of Loth?
The same answer.
Okay. Well, we are friends of Loth. So if you wish to be friends with us, you are a friend of Loth. So I ask you again, are you a friend of Loth?
cast.
Okay. I have no problem with him. You may stay your hand, Devdon.
As you wish. Sheath my blade.
What are you exactly? You are dead, correct?
He is undead. I can see it in his skull.
Would you be a lich by any chance? Or a death knight, perhaps?
Is that a component pouch I see on your waist? Are you a wizard?
You do have a component pouch on your waist.
I do not know. You would like. Know what a lich is, but I'm probably that.
I didn't get anything on that pass. Spider-Man looks at you kind of strange and confused, and just like so you don't know what you're, so you don't know if you have any powers or not. Then.
Yes, I have powers. It just things are unfamiliar to me.
Okay. Well, what kind of powers do you have?
I have magical powers and a very certain art. What to say?
What'd you say, dude?
I have magical powers.
You have magical powers, so you're like you're a wizard. You got magic spells and stuff.
Yeah.
As I thought.
Perhaps you've been asleep a little too long and you're a little rusty. Well, no matter. We could use a lich on our side. We are going to retake my throne. So, by all means, this is a perfect opportunity for you to prove your loyalty to me. Come outside with us, and we will make the announcement and help me destroy my enemies.
Okay.
Spider-Man just kind of sighs and walks over to Reinhardt. It's like, I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes today. Like, in my life in general.
Why would you say that? That's Spanda.
Nothing. I'm not 100% with the whole killing thing. Whatever.
These men took the lives of your friends.
I glance over at Spider-Man and just give him one of the meh shrugs.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, I don't know.
This is true. Y'all make your way outside. And, okay, so you wind up at the big old spider web. And you actually follow Lorala's lead. Lorala is actually going to take you to S4, which is the bazaar. Here we go. And I'm going to copy this for you, you Dark Wolf, so you know what we're talking about. Messages. Oh, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that one more time. We're all set. I'll see if I can find the web. You the man. Okay, this is where we're at. We're going to go to S4. And I don't think we've actually been to S4, so I actually have to find it. Now I'm slowing everybody down. Talk amongst yourselves.
Hey, Ignite.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to roll a dice or a die on Roll20, do you have to actually type out rolling and then the die?
No, I just use the die roller. Do you see how there's a little toolbar on the left side of the screen?
Yeah.
As the pointer or the paintbrush.
There it is.
Yeah. Hover over the die and just click on the bottom option, Advanced Dice Roller.
Ah, okay. I see.
Yes.
I see, said the blind man. But I can also...
Yes, quite convenient.
do that. Yeah, I can also do that. All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all see this. And you are all, like, at the very opening of the S12. And let me put this on roll 22 so we have it as well.
That's a new page.
Yeah. I don't think
we've been there.
the only person who was in here was like Venom, and he didn't do anything in there. He just immediately walked away. And I may drop it, so hold on.
You're gonna drop it.
Okay. Oh, I hate you, computer. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Copy link. Oh my god. Oh, now it'll do. Now it'll do what I want it to do. I'm sorry, I'm so slow.
I'm not singing Jeopardy.
Okay.
Do you want me to sing Jeopardy? Because I could sing Jeopardy.
Do it.
Do 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 do.
I regret all my life decisions. All right. Okay. And I need a new map. Create new page. Yeah. Paste. No, not us.
I take this as a great victory over my greatest.
Okay, hold on. I'm too slow. Fuck. Where's the stupid? Is this what I wanted?
He's.
I'm broken. Okay. All right. What? Why is my... Oh my god. Like, I just... Okay, you don't need to fucking show me the... Okay, now my computer's pissing me off. Okay, there. Just upload the fucking map. Oh my god. Okay. The game grinds to the halt as the Dungeon Master loads a map he's not ready for. Okay.
Loading.
Okay.
Loading.
We're here. We're in that area.
Successful.
Finally got it.
This is a very tiny picture.
Yeah,
this is a very tiny picture.
Let me boost it up. There we go. I'll try to get it.
Oh man, I thought maps are supposed to be a moderate size.
You know, you're an ass. You're an ass. Mister helps me with everything because I'm hopeless.
You would rather me be an ass than not be a friend. Don't lie for anyone to be.
Now it's too long. Oh, okay, here we go.
Oh,
I got this. I'm smart. It's not doing what I wanted, is it?
Sure.
Okay. How does that look? That looks like shit, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
Very much.
Maybe yours... Why is it not doing... It's like not stretching. Just moving. Stretch, you cocksucker. There we go. Okay.
Ooh, wow. Very good.
Are you not a page?
What?
Or just
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
are you able to just upload each itself like you did with the other one?
That's what I'm trying to do. Okay.
Because that would be too easy. That would make sense. And Eddie works like the Navy, so if it's easier, it doesn't fly with him.
The very fact that you mentioned the Navy in all of this means that you have made a terrible enemy today. And there is no curse in Elvish, Dwarfish, or the tongues of men for what you will suffer. You will rule the day.
I made a terrible enemy the day I met you, so
That's
I'm
true.
not afraid.
Eddie,
Yes.
I believe it's been half an hour or so since you started recording. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, this is totally how I wanted to end it. When it was like we had an interesting start. No, we got like 20 minutes. We got 7 minutes left. Let's start role playing something. I don't want to just have like. And then I got confused making a map for 45 minutes.
I mean,
I can't handle with that. I can't handle it.
hey, just cut out here.
I suck.
Maybe
I suck.
set up the map and stuff.
I'm doing it.
And I'm
You're a map that requires being set
not
up.
recording all.
Okay, hold on. I think I got us. Okay. So you're here in this lovely shitty map. Paste you back there. Yay, I did it. I did it all by myself. Okay, now let me read the thingy.
This looks like terribly stretched plate.
That's because it is. You hole.
Did you just call him a hole?
I did.
He called me a hole, not an asshole.
Okay.
I feel attacked.
You are. Anyway, all right. So she takes you across the spiderweb and leads you to a cave. And the cave leads you to a big bazaar level. And this huge natural cavern seems overlarge with a single clump of creatures gathered near its southwest wall. 2 lizards loaded down with packs and crates stand at the center of the clump. 3 gray dwarves beside them seem to be selling wares from the lizards' packs. The customers include a pair of drow, a trio of kutawas, and a mind flayer. A ledge about 10 feet off the ground runs the length of the northeastern wall, and some half-dozen doors are set into the wall beyond the ledge. The cavern's ceiling is about 20 feet high. So, y'all go in there, and you see all these weird creatures hanging about. And Dessa stands up tall and announces, it was like, "Attention! I am Dessa Sick Morcane, heir to the House Morcane. Darina has fallen. This is no longer the territory of the cult of Karansali. The true drow, those loyal to Loth, now have reclaimed power once again. All of you, pledge fealty to me, or die at my hand. What say you?" And at this point, a bunch more like drow come out, and particularly some drow soldiers with spears at the ready. And it's like, "Do you wish to challenge me? Or do you wish to keep your lives?" And we'll say that there's like 2 sentries in here that are just regular, that are just like, look like they're kind of night watch. They got like armor on. But then there's 4 more that are wearing white tabards that are clearly the old cult of Karansali. So it's like, "That's impossible. That's possible. Iray is coming. You cannot stop her armies." And they appear to be drawing swords and getting ready to fight. Unless anybody wants to do a diplomacy check or anything like that. Does anyone want to do that?
I will attempt a diplomacy check, as I typically do.
That's why I pay you the big bucks.
Let's see here. Diplomacy.
How would you roll diplomacy?
You talk. You basically say, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. For you, it would be a charisma check. For you, it would be a charisma check, basically.
I'm rolling with a 26.
Okay,
which I state to them, if we can take down your leader, we can take you down with ease. If you'd rather keep your life, I'd say you align yourself with those.
What was that last part, real quick?
Say, if you wish to keep your life, I suggest you align yourself with those of great power.
By the way, there's 2 of them that have clearly joined you. "My lady, you'll have our sword. We were always loyal to Loth to the end. We hated these invaders regardless." All right, you made a 26. Let me bust out the epic level handbook. Because they are hostile, because they're crazy followers. The crazy clown shoes religion. Wish Melmoda was here, so we could make fun of religion right now. That'd be a fun thing. Preach everybody the gospel of atheism. Okay. Where's epic diplomacy? So on an unrelated note, the Critical Role guys apparently got some flack because that it's not they don't do things like a typical like role playing game that like they heavily edit their content and stuff like that, and like the Taking 20 guys giving them shit for things like that. I wish I could edit as well as he does. So it's
I like how they edit their stuff so that you get the important bits. You can watch a 4-hour game in half.
Yeah, so you don't have these long gaps of nothing. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Anyway, they were hostile. You rolled a 26, so congratulations, you brought them to indifferent. So yeah, I figured like what they're basically going to do is they just kind of they look at the Spider-Man poses. Reinhardt, you get your hammer ready. Devton, you look scary all the time. The spellcasters start readying spells, and this one right here just kind of drops his sword and just kind of puts up his hand. So do the other two. This one, apparently the most devout, just kind of falls to his knees and starts crying. It was like, Our Lady has fallen. Our Lady has fallen. You won't be able to stop this. She is coming. The armies of the dead will rise. They will rise and burn them all to the ground. Lorala's had enough, and Lorala just goes up and like chops the guy's head off. Which clearly annoys Spider-Man, but it's like he doesn't say anything because apparently he's a giant.
Such an aggressive lady. I like assertiveness.
Lorala turns and winks at you. Something about this character, something about vampires just appeals to me. I don't know what it is. In every dimension. Lorala wants to bone a Davis character. So these three surrender.
Should do this again, but next time I play a gnome, and she officially has something about gnomes now.
Yeah. All right, so I'm not going to dramatize this with figurines because I don't think it's necessary. But basically, more drow civilians start coming out, and including many women and several men, and they begin bowing before the mother of dragons over here, Dessa. I don't know why that's on my mind right now. I got a feeling they just really don't want to be burned alive, so they start praising her and are glad that she's back, and they herald her coming, and basically we need to continue and make sure that the entire city knows I've returned. So your next bout, y'all go. I'm basically going to have you do a couple of diplomacy checks because what I want you to do here is I want to basically make sure that anywhere like bad guys can show up and cause you problems, they're going to realize it's not going to be a problem. So it's like, if y'all want, we're all like, y'all go to the barracks, and the barracks has a new set of guards. Not these people. Okay, just imagine there's a bunch of guards over here. Whatever. The point is, you show up and you there's a couple guards and they draw their swords and whatnot. Would you like to make a diplomacy check, anybody?
I shall go at it once more.
Okay.
At a 27.
Okay. I believe that's better than your last one.
Lay down your.
One more time, sir.
Taking back her kingdom.
Do that one more time.
Lay down your arms if you wish to live, lest you take them up alongside your princess taking back her kingdom.
Okay, 27. Once again, you got them to indifference. You basically got everybody to surrender again. There was Dessa instinctively looks at some of there are a couple of officers that are female, and basically orders that they be chained up. They are arrested for the time being. And like the last place you go to, which I'm not going to load the map for because because of how long it took last time. There's a big common quarter, which is full of giant mushrooms that people are actually using as houses. And beyond that, there's a slave quarter. Flutterbug just remembers the slave quarter. One more diplomacy check.
Like, you just want me to make it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. You calculated this one. 37.
37. Ooh. By all means, roleplay this.
As my blade is pointed in your direction, you will fall. And it will pick up arms alongside your princess, and my blade will no longer be pointed against you.
Okay. All right, so you like, if my blade is pointed at you, you will fall. Take up arms alongside your lady, and my blade will no longer be pointed against you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, you got a 37, so you got them up to friendly. But I think that requires more elaboration. I, Justice Sycamore Kane, have reclaimed the throne. Darina has fallen. The cult of Karansali has fallen. Those of you still loyal to Loth, join me. If you're still loyal to that blasphemous goddess of death, prepare to die and join her. What say you? There are a couple of cult of Karansali who rise up and start charging you. They're immediately tackled by several drow men who just start beating them to death right in front of you. And like a woman, one of the overseers draws a sword that's getting ready to fight. The overseer next to him draws his own whip and grapples his neck and pulls him to the ground. Before you know it, the entire peasant quarter is cheering and praising the return of their queen. And they start chanting Dessa, Dessa, Dessa. You have reclaimed Zithmore Kane.
How does it feel, princess, to be back on top of the underworld?
Victorious. But we are not done yet. We will gather together our forces, we will march on Maramydra, and we will defeat Irene Sarong, the treacherous mother of Darina. We will send her to the deepest depths of the Underdark, where the demons will feast on her soul forever. Yeah! We approve this, yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Can we put out word here that if they catch any vampires, to capture them, imprison them until further notice?
Yes, and fuck vampires! And I guess I can handle this. Yeah, so if there's any vampires, let us know. We gotta stop that. And who the hell's that? This is Spider-Man, one of my new champions that will help us bring revenge against the cult of Karansali. And yes, if there's any vampires, capture them, detain them. They will kiss daylight before the day is done. Yeah. Rabble. Attica. I got nothing. Anyway, so you've retaken Zithmore Kane, and she seems very, very pleased. Everybody's kind of organizing. It's like you got actual they're basically taking the people loyal to Karansali and are just putting them to the sword. And Spider-Man feels very uncomfortable about all this and is not approving, but doesn't say anything.
Congratulations, Spandex. You've done something I approve of for once.
At least these people are free, and at least they won't be marching on the surface anymore. Maybe it's a culture shock. I just don't like the way these people do things. Whatever. All right. Well, we reclaimed. Now to make sure that the castle is ours. So you return to the castle, and you go to the throne room. And Devdin, I believe I owe you payment. And she grants you the 80 gold that you've earned.
I appreciate it much. Do you wish to keep my services on the table?
Absolutely. And I assure you, all of you will find glory as long as you stay with me. There is much more that needs to be done.
Glory is not what I care about.
Well, I mean, as long as the attacks on the surface are no longer a big deal, I mean, you probably could mosey. I do want to bury Eddie Brock. So we want to take care of that. Very well, but especially if you are interested with us having an alliance with the surface. I should warn you that, again, this army that took over us came initially from the city of Maramydra. That is where the bulk of Darina's forces are. And I, too, agree with you that it's entirely possible that Darina is still out there somewhere. So I would not necessarily bet that they're fully done for. So
However, I do agree with one thing that Spandex wishes. I do believe in honoring the dead.
Very well. Lorala speaks up. It's like he fought well alongside us, and he helped out. So I'm all for honoring his memory as well.
What?
But that's the chimes in again. I would advise you that basically it would probably be best for you in order to continue to Maramydra. Saron sent Darina here to conquer, and she has a force there, and she will not stop there. We're not sure what she's planning, but it is very dangerous. Well, there has been one other thing that's been on my mind. I don't know if you noticed while you were a prisoner here, but did
You mean like low? It's the best weapon on sale.
What the fuck's happening?
Sorry. The computer gets random ads for some reason.
Okay.
And I try to refresh and other stuff.
What is running ads? Well, now's a good time.
I think he said his computer was running ads randomly or something, or maybe he's browsing and an ad popped up.
Yeah, don't browse anything right now. Okay, and then we'll pause in just a moment. There was one thing I was curious about. So when Reinhardt and I came down here initially, we had a friend of ours with us who was a big, it's hard to describe, like a golem, a big metal machine creature, and transform into a vehicle. He got captured earlier on, and we haven't seen him anywhere nearby. Have you seen anything like that come through here? Well, I was semi-conscious at the time, but I believe such a creature
like a metal wagon.
Yeah, he's it's like a golem, but it's like he can transform into a vehicle. Name's Beachcomber. Really likes birds. He's a transformer. It's complicated. Thing called a robot.
He transmutes himself into a wagon?
Yes.
Horses.
Not horses. He's powered by his own. Like he's on his own power. He can drive himself.
A magical wagon that he transmutes into that can pull itself.
Basically, yes.
I've never heard of such a thing.
But yeah.
And again, I've never heard of you or the place you come from.
This is true. He's actually not from Earth. He's from a place called Cybertron. But I kind of know him from back in the day, and he's a nice guy. Really into nature, type of thing. But do you see him come through? Lorala says, "Well, I remember watching you from a distance, and he was carried off here to this castle somewhere." And and Dessa chimes in. It's like, I don't recall everything that was happening, but I believe I overheard talk of Iray taking an interest in him, and that someone basically, like someone used this, there was talk of a wizard basically opening up a portal that would send him directly to Maramydra. So it's entirely possible that he would be there as well. The dungeon we have, that was back at the barracks. I don't know if you saw that or not. You guys got captured, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, well, did you see it in there? No, we were like, these guys were the only guys that were there. Like, Zach and Devden here. So, we didn't see him at all. It's entirely possible that he is at Maramidra's, the fortress of Maramydra. If you wish to rescue your friend, most likely he's there. But even if you wish to abandon him, we could use both of your strength, because it's like, this is not the end of it. Another assault will be made, and even though I was boastful outside, my people are weakened after this assault. We could use every person we can get to fend off their attacks. There was some reason that basically Iray was able to take over there in the first place. Something happened. We
heard runners that some kind of attack was going on, and it wasn't from the cult of Karansali. It was an army of giants and orcs and whatnot. There is some kind of warlord. We don't know much about him, but he goes by Kurgoth Hellspawn. He was laying siege at Maramidra. And then there was silence. We heard nothing from them. Next thing we knew, we were being invaded.
Princess?
Yes.
You wish for me to guard this area as you march? It'll be 1 gold per day. If you wish for me to charge on anything, it will be the same price as it was to storm this castle.
I think it would be best if you went with me, or if you would be part of a force that would basically assault Maramidra, or at least report back. You came here as scouts from the surface world, do you not? Yeah, we were sent here by King Randall Moore of Daggerdale, who wanted us to investigate what was going on down here. Well, if you are amicable to it, I think you could scout for me. And if you run into some serious trouble, come back, and we'll see if we can muster a force to invade en masse. Well, I do want to get Beachcomber back. Got an echo. I do want to get Beachcomber back, so I think it's probably in my best interest to go to Maramidra. But yeah, I think that might be a good idea. I'm going to pause here real quick so we can make sure the recording's good.
Alrighty.